What comes through the shop. The shop wakes before he does. Metal settles overnight. Oil thickens. Rubber cools and contracts. The building exhales in small sounds that mean nothing to anyone who isn't listening for them. When he arrives, he pauses outside the door. Not out of habit, exactly. More like courtesy. He stands still long enough for the inside to announce itself. There is a faint tick from somewhere near the back wall. Not mechanical, structural. The sound of something cooling unevenly. Nothing urgent, nothing wrong. He opens the door. The lights come on without ceremony. The hum is familiar, uneven in a way he trusts. The smell meets him halfway. Oil, metal, old rubber, dust that has learned where it belongs. A shop that has been used long enough to stop pretending it's clean. The floor carries yesterday in thin stains and scuffs. A shelf leans slightly, never quite level, no matter how many times he's adjusted it. Parts are stacked where they landed, not where they belong, but he knows exactly what's there. He could close his eyes and walk to anything he needs. Against the far wall, the tool chest waits. It doesn't match the rest of the shop. Anyone else would notice it eventually and wonder. The drawers are clean. Not new, just cared for. Bearings wiped, oiled, wrapped. Tools laid out by use memory rather than size. The drawers open without sound because they're respected. He sets his coffee down on the bench, same place as always. The ring at the bottom of the cup fits into the stain like it was made for it. He doesn't wipe it away. The radio comes on low, not for music, for voices, weather, traffic, proof that the world is still moving somewhere else. He lifts the bay door halfway, stops, listens. A bird passes outside. Somewhere down the road, a truck downshifts too early. Inside, the shop answers back with nothing that needs him yet. He lifts the door the rest of the way. Morning light slides in across the floor, catching dust in slow motion. It reveals wear honestly. Scratches, oil stains, the places where people stand when they don't know what to do with their hands. A truck pulls in 10 minutes later. Older, hesitant. The engine idles unevenly, like it's learned to apologize before being accused. The man who gets out looks tired. Not angry. That's unusual. Most people arrive angry or pretending not to be. He walks slower than the truck deserves. Keeps his hands in his pockets like he's afraid of them. "Morning," the man says. "Morning," he answers. They stand there a moment too long. The man wants to say more. He doesn't yet. "What can I help you with?" The man shifts his weight. "It's making a noise," he says finally. That sentence again. "When does it do it?" "When I slow down." "How slow?" "Enough to notice." He takes the keys. No clipboard, no form yet. He opens the hood and doesn't start where people expect him to. He rests his hand on the engine block, palm flat, fingers loose. He doesn't think about what he's doing. He waits. The metal holds heat where it shouldn't. Just a little. Not enough to scare anyone. Enough to tell the truth. The man clears his throat. Starts to speak. Before the sound can leave his mouth, the mechanic lifts his hand. Not sharply, not flat. Fingers open. Reaching slightly. Not to stop the man, but toward him. Not stop. Listen. The engine ticks as it cools. Once, then again. The man doesn't know why, but he leans in. Just a little. His sentence dissolves on its own. "There," the mechanic says quietly. The man nods, though he doesn't know to what. They take it around the block. The mechanic drives. He slows deliberately, letting the truck reveal itself without pressure. The noise arrives like a confession. Small, embarrassed, persistent. Back in the bay, he lets the engine sit, doesn't rush. Time is part of the work. He opens the tool chest. A drawer slides out without sound. He chooses a tool without looking, the way you reach for a word you've used your whole life. The man watches his hands like they're doing something special. "How do you know?" he asks, before he can stop himself. The mechanic doesn't look up. "It was warm where it shouldn't be," he says, "and tired." The man laughs once, short and surprised, then stops. "That's exactly how it's felt," he says, almost to himself. The part comes off clean, worn thin from doing its job too well. No failure, no betrayal, just time. The mechanic sets it aside gently, like it earned the rest. He replaces it without comment. The man hovers. "Is it bad?" he asks. "No," the mechanic says. "It just needed attention." The man exhales, surprised by the sound of it. He hadn't known he was holding his breath. While the truck is still on the lift, a woman comes in. Her car is newer, too new for this shop usually. She doesn't sit. She stands where she can leave quickly. "I don't need it fixed today," she says. "I just need to know." "Know what?" "If I can keep driving it." He listens, checks, lets the engine idle long enough to stop performing. The answer arrives without drama. "You can," he says, "for a while." "For a while," she repeats. "Yes." She nods, doesn't ask how long, stays longer than necessary anyway. "Thank you," she says, like it matters more than the answer. She leaves without scheduling anything. Around noon, the light changes. It flattens things, makes dust disappear, makes everything look fine. The radio talks about weather that won't come and traffic that already has. A kid comes in on a bike, chain loose, nervous smile. "Do you—" "Yes," the mechanic says. "Give me a minute." He tightens the chain, straightens the wheel. The kid watches his hands like they're magic. "They're not," he says. "They just pay attention." The kid nods, like that makes sense. By late afternoon, the shop quiets. The radio goes off. The light lowers and tells the truth again. Dust reappears. Weir shows itself. The man with the truck comes back, pays without haggling, stands like he wants to say something else. "I almost sold it," he says. "Thought it was time." The mechanic wipes his hands. "It's not done," he says. The man nods. That was the answer he came back for. "You do good work," he says finally. The mechanic nods. That's enough. He sweeps the floor without hurrying. Same corners, same rhythm. Before he closes the door, he looks at the empty bay. Not sentimental, just present. Tomorrow will bring more. Not the same things, but the same truths, wearing different coats. He turns off the lights. The shop waits.